Episode 7 of the 5th season Star Trek Lower Decks came out on Thanksgiving. Why did you come out on a holiday? Plan better, please. Please plan better. So that's why you're getting my review late. Actually, all my Lower Decks reviews have been late, so that's a poor excuse for me. But anyhow, it's time for me to talk about and present my review of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 7, Fully Dilated. So, in this episode, they're closing another rift between parallel dimensions. This time it's a universe where there's a nice purple hue to everything. Speaking of, that's a little better. Yeah, let's go with this purple hue for the rest of the video. Why not? So anyhow, not only is this other universe purple, it is a purple Enterprise from it. Instead of being a dull gray, it's a nice purple instead. And while they don't actually get to interact with that purple Enterprise, or purple praise, and that's a really bad pun, they do realize that before they close the rift, that some technology from that purple Enterprise got left behind on the nearby planet. A pre-warp society. So, T'Lyn, Mariner, and Tendi are set down undercover. They get they get plastic cosmetic surgery so that way they can blend in with the natives. And then they just go down. They find what was a crash shuttle and Data's head. A purple Data, mind you, but still a Data. They do make a lot of Star Trek episode references, but there's one reference I need to mention because it's kind of important to this episode and I didn't mention why it's important yet because I haven't mentioned it yet. This planet experiences time dilation. For every 1 second that passes on board the Cerritos, 1 week passes on the planet. So it's not as bad as that episode of Voyager where 1 second was a year on the planet. I forget the name of the episode, but they sent the doctor down because he could adjust to the time dilation thing and it wouldn't affect him. So that was more because of they did more technobabble stuff with his they can speed up his photo processing. Here they're just like, yeah, you adjust to it because time is actually just moving a little bit slow. It's not or moving faster, something like that. They don't even do technobabble like they did in Voyager. They just send T'Lyn, Mariner, and Tendi down to the planet. But they also mention because they get stranded a little past their beam out because Boimler spilled food on the replicator console. Well, him and Rutherford, and they are frantically trying to clean up. And every now and then it cuts back to the Cerritos with Boimler and Rutherford trying to clean up. That's definitely the comedic beat of the episode. Not much going on with it, it's just a comedic beat. So hopefully Rutherford and Boimler learn not to copy their alternative universe selves. I'm just saying. But because they get stranded, I think it was Mariner makes a reference to Carbon Creek, which was an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, where it's revealed that T'Pol's grandmother was briefly stranded on Earth and her and the rest of her crew that survived had to hide among humans for a little bit without interfering and impacting development. They also make a reference to times error of Data's head, which obviously they had to make that reference. So these are not the only 2 episodes where we see Data's head disconnected from his body. There was another episode where the Enterprise lost power and Riker took Data's head off to get it to main engineering so Data could do some stuff to fix it. Complicated stuff. I don't remember that episode that well. But the point being is lots of great Star Trek references that are fun that make sense. Like some of these are events that, yeah, there's a good chance that 1, people will know about because they involve the Enterprise, or 2, these are probably historically significant events and therefore may be included in training. Yeah, I can definitely see briefings on what to do if you encounter time dilation planets, and they will reference Voyager by this time. I could see, Carbon Creek being used as an example of how to stay hidden among a native population to not impact the development but still survive and await rescue. I can see that stuff being included in briefings because, what's better, a hypothetical scenario in universe, of course, because this is all fiction anyhow, a hypothetical scenario in universe or a real scenario in universe. I would go with the real ones because you can do more discussions and all that. It's not going to be a perfect situation, therefore it will be a better learning opportunity for Starfleet officers. There I go, I just justified Star Trek references in Lower Decks. Now that all that's out of the way, so let's actually discuss what Tendi, Mariner, and T'Lyn get up to on the planet. So not only do they find Data's head, and they get stranded, so they have to live. Well, Tallinn decides to get really big into agriculture and gardening and make some ginormous plants. And there's some puns in there. Some puns, especially regarding some of the melons that she grew. And then what does Tendi do? Well, she builds a water wheel to generate power to power data set. Well, first she does a crank generator, then she switches to a water wheel so that she doesn't have to crank as much, which Data is impressed by. Though I do want to say one thing real quick. The reason why Tendi is doing this, well, Tallinn is just, doing stuff to survive. Captain Freeman is considering promoting either Tallinn or Tendi to the senior science officer position. Like I said, they're not really lower decks anymore. Watch my video when I discuss the cancellation of lower decks with season 5 being the end of it. I do address how they're moving on up and no longer really lower decks. And this kind of proves it. They're being considered for promotion to bridge officer, not just officers on the bridge, but senior bridge officers. And no, because Tallinn as a Vulcan is really good at all science stuff. Tendi feels insecure. Yes, they're friends, but that doesn't prevent her insecurities. So she's, with this extra time that they have on the plane, she's trying to basically pad out her resume. And I gotta say, both do a pretty good job, which Data does recognizes. And Data also recognizes that Tendi's going too far and needs to take some sleep. Yeah, about that. She doesn't do that too well. Again, when Tendi gets a mindset of something, boy, does she get her mindset on something. And what is Mariner doing all this? Well, she thinks back to the episode where Captain Picard got trapped in basically that memory simulation thing and with the flute and the Rhinican flute, I believe. Anyhow, she gets obsessed, so she thinks like, okay, she needs to basically recreate that experience for herself, find herself an alien family or friends of some form, and also learn to play a soap flute. It's crazy. She does learn to play a soap flute badly, and this is so Mariner. She gets thrown in prison. Then she becomes good friends with the prisoners. So that's actually something. And granted, then the episode realized, yes, she did find her alien, found family. Just happened to be with all the prisoners. Why did that seem such a Mariner thing? Because way back in season 1, she said that she loves the brig. Well, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And yeah, that fits. That definitely fits with Mariner in this episode. But anyhow, eventually Boimler and Rutherford do signal that they are ready to beam them out, and they have to rush. So there's been this native named Snell who has been basically looking all the time. Anyhow, he sees Data's head. Well, they convince the townspeople that he was a loser. And Data explains afterwards, when I think Tendi asks, that everyone already thought Snell was a loser, so they're not impacting or violating the Prime Directive or anything there. And yeah, Snell was a loser. They're always looking, trying to find something. He probably is on the local HOA as well, is my guess. No, since everyone thinks he's a loser, he's probably been kicked out, but he still says that he's the chair. Yeah, that's probably more likely. And they beam out, and then before the Suito sends Purple Data back to the Purple Enterprise in the Purple Universe, Data's head and Captain Freeman have a conversation, especially about the senior science officer position. And because he was in the field observing the two applicants, he could make some recommendations. So you think this will go bad for Tendi? After all, she did kind of, obsess and kind of lose some focus because of all this. But what Data saw is that Tallinn and Tendi work really well together, and that when one of them thinks they're competing, because Tallinn didn't even realize this, mind you, typical Vulcan, that it hurts both of them, especially Tendi, I would assume. We don't get to see the conversation, but the fact that Captain Freeman decides to promote both of them to the senior science officer position, I would say probably that was how they work better together, and especially splitting them apart or somehow putting them in competition does not do good for their job performance. Communication breaks down, one of them really goes off the deep end. Some of decks are a bit exaggerated. Of course, it's a comedy, but if we take the core of it, it's basically saying that these two people work really well together and they don't perform at their best when they've been separated, or especially in a situation where maybe their communication breaks down, they don't realize that they are competing but separated, but still together, working at the same time. Does that make sense? Because it barely made sense to me. Is there more I can discuss? Oh, certainly. Small little things here and there and all that, but the fact, I still love how on the planet, Milner probably does the craziest thing, but it just works for her, and how it so nicely connects to her earlier characterization, but still shows that, she's a, much more well-rounded character who's learned a lot from her experience, but some things just don't change with her. And of course, Tendi learns, I think, a good lesson too. What's that lesson? I don't know, but I think she learns it. Actually, I do think I know what it is. I think it's largely that she learns, basically, what her strengths are. And really, when you look at it, they're both really good at science across the board, but Talin, especially on that plane, is excellent at agriculture. And Tendi, you have a knack for mechanical engineering. I don't think she wants to be an engineer, but the fact is, they got both some pretty good skills, and they're really good science officers, good at thinking through problems. Like literally, in a pre-industrial society, Tendi invents hand generators and water generators just to power a positronic android's head. I don't know how much power Data uses, but I don't think it's an insignificant amount. And the giant grapes, everything. Talin, they're really good at agriculture. Like, they both learned a lot of science in that year they were on the plane. Yeah, by the way, they were all down there a year. A year. They're now a year older than everyone. For Talin, not too much. Vulcans age at a little over half the rate of humans, or slower than humans. But still, everyone else is now a year older than everyone. They're still all a year older. Just reset the transporter patterns and use the patterns from when they beamed down. There we go. I mean, they did that in an episode of season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation with Dr. Pulaski and all those other people on that plane where they were genetically experimenting with children. They were breaking Federation law. I wonder if Lower Decks ever gonna mention that. Probably not, but that seemed like such a Lower Decks thing. Oh well. Anyhow, that's why I'm going to end this review. Yeah, is it a weird ending? Sure, why not? But it's Lower Decks, and weird is part of the game. Anyhow, I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know your thoughts on Fully Dilated in the comment section down below. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever y'all live long and prosper. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest videos. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you, always.